trusting the process is like, you have to understand you're in a completely different world. Like most people are in a linear world where you do 5 this day, you get 10 this day. You do 10 this day, you get 10. What is it? Okay, 20. Let's use a different example.
Like you work 40 hours and you get
this amount of money.
This amount of
and
money.
If you work double that hours, you get double amount of that
right.
money. And it's like, that's not the world. If you're going towards any life where I feel like it's not conventional, I really feel like business, content creation, all of these things where like it's not linear, basically. That's just not the rules don't apply anymore. Those same rules don't apply. And I think that's why it makes it hard to trust this process, because you're like, oh, if I put in this amount of hours and I got nothing, or I got worse than I did yesterday, then this life can't work for me. And it's like, but those rules don't apply to this game at all. Like, that's not how it works. Like, you could put in years of work and get it all on the 5th year. Like, you just never know when it's going to come. So that's basically why the outcome in this world or this game can't be the number one priority. It has to be what you're interested in. Right. Yeah. You getting better as a creator, you getting better as a business person. You need something else to focus on. Right. I think that's the easiest way to, it's still hard, of course, but like, that's the easiest way to trust this process, is literally you have to trust in something other than the thing, if that makes sense. Like, you have to trust in yourself or your growth or your habits or your routine. Like, you need to put your trust in something else, a mindset, you know. Because the outcome is not going to give you what you're looking for on a day-to-day basis, for sure.
If you focus on the money or the subscribers or whatever, I feel like that's just the fastest way to kill yourself.
Look, I've tried it. Like, with TikTok, it was such a slot machine thing, and I thought that could kind of be like my way into like making content creation my full-time job, and it just was not giving. It was too rapid and it was too volatile. It was too much like, and it can be good, like you can still have it there, but I think I was putting too much trust in that. I was putting too much trust in that algorithm for that to be the thing that gets me the career I want. And it's like, that's not I feel like how you know, because this is how I knew that you're putting your trust in the wrong thing, is you have time to sit around and think about that. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Right. Like, looking back at when I kind of like failed with trusting in the right thing, I feel like I had too much time to sit around and contemplate. I posted my 3 videos in a day on TikTok, and I would be like obsessing over each one, thinking about it, like checking my stats constantly. And it's like, okay, if you are really bettering or improving yourself, you wouldn't have the time to sit around and be doing that. Now, when I switched my focus to how can I be a better communicator? How can I be a better storyteller? How can I be an entrepreneur, period? Like, how can I be someone who sells products? My day was so stacked with things to better myself, because I'm actually focusing on the things that I'm bad at, not focusing on why am I not getting rewarded for the things I'm good at. I didn't have time to sit around and think about like, oh my God, like I was on too many platforms. I was trying to express my ideas on YouTube and TikTok, and start thinking of product ideas, and start looking things up, and start exercising more so I can have more mental clarity. I didn't have time to think about all of these little like silly things, like why am I not getting this, or why didn't I get this brand deal? And I think that's kind of like, that was a sign for me that I wasn't focusing on the right thing. My focus was on the wrong stuff, you know, because I had time to sit there and throw a pity party for myself, basically. Now when I feel bad, it's just like, okay, I just got to work out while I feel sad. I just gotta, you know, do my daily writing while I feel like this is pointless, but I still don't have time. Like, actually sitting down and thinking about how negative I feel is worse than just doing this thing, you know? So I feel like that was something I realized. I do want to, on that note, I do want to talk about like mindset a little bit, just like,
I was gonna say something like, it seems like it wasn't so much changing your activities, because you're still doing YouTube, you're still doing TikTok, you know? but it was really you just changed how you looked at it, which just comes down to your mindset.
Yeah.
And I'll just talk about YouTube because that's what I know. And actually, I see this like I see people making YouTube videos or even writing Medium articles based on what they think people like.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you're trying to, increase subscribers or increase ad revenue or
virality and all that.
You're chasing the output. You're chasing the outcome. And a lot of times like that stuff doesn't get it doesn't do well. It doesn't perform well. Sometimes it does because they go viral sometimes, but I don't know, it's for whatever reason it just doesn't resonate with people the same way. But every time I've made I've never made content with that perspective because it's always been educational content, and the system has always been, I'm curious about this thing, I want to learn it, and then part of my learning process is creating a narrative around it and explaining it in a simple way. So I'll write an article and make a YouTube video like talking through it, like write some example code or something like that. And really just doing that process is the reward because I've learned this thing that was new, scary, complicated, and then I've overcome that. And it's like this inherently valuable thing, and I feel for whatever reason that comes through for other people too, because I've genuinely gained value from creating this content. And it seems that people generally get value through listening to it or reading it because they go through that same process I went through in some way, and so they get that clarity and that realization through the content. And I think that's why it gets traction, that's why it's sticky. And it's it goes to that thing Jeff Bezos talks about, which is like the missionary versus mercenary mindset. The missionary is motivated, is pursuing a bigger mission, while the mercenary is just trying to make money. And like the more I kind of stick around, I feel like what he said is true, in that the irony is that missionaries end up making more money than mercenaries. Because I feel like there's just something about the mercenary mindset. Like I haven't got it all figured out and I can't quite put my finger on it. But sometimes you just put yourself in these situations that aren't aligned with you and you don't really believe in. So instead of bringing your like full capacity to it, you're only bringing part of your capacity, and maybe you don't even feel like yourself. I was talking to someone that was running a successful consulting firm in the past, and they were saying that at times they didn't feel like themselves because they were like overselling. They were saying that they could do things they couldn't really do, and then they would just figure it out. And it's like, that like that's a way to
my whole freelance business.
Like that's natural, and like you kind of do whatever it takes to like get the sale,
and you don't even notice it sometimes. You're just, that's like, trying to.
I think that is the mercenary mindset, and I feel like that's what like rubs people the wrong way. And there's an inherent risk to it because you rub some people the wrong way, it like hurts your reputation, it hurts your relationships. So like maybe you get the feedback, the reward in the short term, but long term you kind of have to, you're burning relationships essentially. Of course you're not burning all your relationships, but you're burning more relationships than the missionary. I feel like when you're a missionary or the missionary, they don't pretend to be anything that they're not. So the people that they attract are people that are just aligned with them, And I feel like that is a much better long-term solution because you never have to like fake anything or hide anything. You can just be yourself, which is like the easiest thing to be. And then people who naturally resonate with that will come to you, and then you'll have these relationships. So like being a missionary, you don't make money fast. Like I've been doing YouTube
it's really
for
slow.
years. I've been doing it for over 3 years now, and just now like I don't even make a livable income off content creation.
I know it's kind of crazy. I was like thinking about this too. I guess this might be a mix of privilege or something with it too, but I was just like, I had to be reminded that the things I'm doing right now are eventually supposed to make money. Like I literally, like, I feel like this whole quarter I just kind of, I don't know, forgot is the right word. It doesn't, I'm not thinking about it on a day to day. I feel like really blessed and to be in a situation where like we do kind of have a year to make our shit work, and we're not living glamorously, but we're surviving, which is even, surprising in and of itself. But I kind of forgot that, like, oh yeah, at some point this stuff's supposed to generate income, because I've been so focused on how can I be a better storyteller, like how can I make content that's aligned with me, how can I make products that are aligned with me and other people. Like I'm more interested now, I feel like, in the improvement of myself, which I think that's also what brings the lows, because it's no longer like I got 5 subscribers and I feel like, yeah, like it's more like, do I feel like that video resonated with people? Do I feel like it resonated with me? Like, was that the story I wanted to tell? And those kind of questions, you don't get just cheap hits every time you post a video. It's more like over the course of a month, you can see your progress, or it's like you get this one random comment where you're like, okay, I finally feel like I achieved what I, was trying to do with that video. Or you're surprised by things like me selling these products. Like I didn't think people would actually like them, and they're telling me like, yeah, I did, but I had to make the whole damn product before they got it, So it's like, it's such a long game.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so different than how I used to view success. And the success now comes from me through reflection, through me journaling, or me. It's nothing you can wait on. It's like you get a random comment or you get a random opportunity, and then you're like, oh, this is actually working.
Right.
So when you're in that mindset, I don't even think about like getting money from this stuff, because I don't know how to describe it. Like when you're on a scavenger hunt for the dopamine hit, you just forget that you're even looking for it, because you're getting you're having to learn so many things on the way. You even forget what you're looking for.
You're kind of so involved in the process and the pursuit that you almost completely forget what you're looking for.
Exactly. And that's what I feel like these days, which I guess is a good thing, but it's also hard. It's very these days, it takes me a week to get one dopamine hit, which is usually posting a YouTube video. And it's a lot. It's like probably 10 to 15 hours of work for one hit. And then that's usually for my video just to flop for the first week. So it's really stretched my delayed gratification. Like it's really pushed it to where I used to just want to get a hit from a TikTok video. Now it's like 2-week lead time.
Well, I think there might be opportunity to let go of that flop or not flop
yes
from the equation.
Yeah.
Because I think ideally, just because your videos, you're expressing your feelings, your emotion, like what you're going through, and these ideas that you don't hear enough people talking about. And I feel the expression of that and the
just packaging it up,
creating this piece of content that demonstrates this idea or feeling that was just so hard to make sense of at one point. I think that should be the main focus. And if it resonates with people and it kind of gets traction, like great. But if it flops, it doesn't really matter. You've talked about it. Like, I made the video.
You've done a good job of putting it together.
Like I made that video on multi-kills, which is like a concept that I've basically based my whole business around.
Right.
And it's gotten like 300 views on YouTube, but I'm still glad that that's out there, because if I get in a conversation with someone and I'm talking about it, I always have that. It's
like a body of work.
I can refer them to that video or that article. It just gives me that satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, I feel like that's why I still do it. Like that's why I still show up anyway, because I feel like with YouTube specifically, it's such a feat to make a video. I don't know about everybody. I feel like most people, it takes a decent amount of time. And I feel like it's such a feat just to make the video. Script it, film it, make it sound cohesive. And I feel like that's why I still come back to YouTube, because I'm never not proud of a video. Like just the fact that I made it in general is such a like, okay, like thank goodness. Like, yeah, if it flopped, it kind of sucks. Like, or if it doesn't reach, it kind of sucks. But I still like, I like that I made this. Like it feels like a collection. Like I'm adding things to a collection of art. So it's just like, yeah, like that was just a point in my life when this was happening. And, you know, it feels cool just to have it there. So I feel like I always come back to that. And I think that's why I've recently gravitated towards YouTube a lot more, because it just feels so much more, something about like the delayed gratification feels more natural and human. It feels healthier. Like I'm supposed to be waiting a week before I feel like I accomplished something, like instead of one day and I just get this cheap thrill from a TikTok video. And then I feel like there's more, I don't know, like substance to it, because I'm getting to articulate the full idea in like a 10 to like 20 minute video or something. Whereas like a TikTok is just like 30 seconds, you know, a minute, 3 minutes. And it's really, really trying to just entertain people very quickly, you know. And I do like that style of video, and I do think there's value in it too. I just like, that's why I feel like I'm always, TikToks, I can feel like if they flopped, it's like whatever, I don't even feel anything with it. But with a video, even if it flops, like a whole YouTube video, I still feel like, well, I put that together for like 2 weeks, so that was like a chunk of my life, you know. So it feels more meaty. It just, I don't know, it feels better. So
TikTok is, it's never been good to me.
Yeah. It's not been good to me either. And I'm having to trust the process with that too, because I'm feeling not as pulled to it right now. I don't know if I burned myself out after posting so much for a year, but I feel like I'm trying to balance my feelings with every platform and how I feel as an entrepreneur. It's just a lot of feelings to balance. And I think being patient is a huge part of this. Just like not giving up when things aren't going your way. Just putting, like, pausing, just taking a break. Like, I don't know what to post on TikTok. It doesn't mean I'm just stopping the platform. It just means I don't know right now, and I can just wait until something else comes up.